especially African Americans, because while we celebrate the independence of our country, we at the same time recognize that those founding fathers like Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin did not have people like you and I in mind. So give me your general reaction to the 4th of July, Independence Day, and what does it mean to you?
Well, I was very lack of knowledge until I heard you speak on it last night. I always figured it was Independence Day being that America became not dependent on any other country. That was my understanding until I heard you speak on it last night. There was much more to it than just my thought now. But now I have a different aspect of it, knowing now that we was not included in that Independence Day. It gave me a different perspective to make me go way back and look at things are quite different now. So I was very happy for that message that you taught last night. My thought now is different, is that now I know that independence was not for African American. It was just for those, as you spoke, those who owned the property. And I'm very thankful for that message last night.
All righty. Elder, then I want to share the microphone with you and get your overall reaction to 4th of July. It is punctuated with fireworks, festivities, picnic, and the like. But what is your general response? And Minister Allen was making mention of a Bible study that I shared last night with the members of our ministry. So share with us your perspective on this topic.
Well, I'm going to have to piggyback what Minister Allen just said. I didn't realize that there was more to it about independence. I just thought it was Independence Day. We were just celebrating the war, but I didn't realize that we were not included in that celebration. And the Bible class that you taught last night about why they celebrated, and the only reason why they celebrated because the only people that owned the land, men that owned the land, not even the women, not even white women, of course not even black people, period, but not even the white women couldn't even vote, or even white men that didn't own any land, only men that owned land that was able to, that was the reason for the independence. But I didn't realize there was much more to this than, like you said, barbecues and getting together and fireworks. I really didn't think about it, and that's why I'm good. I'm thankful for you because you teach the history, and it's good, you know. The Bible tells us we perish with lack of knowledge. I ain't perishing because of lack of knowledge. I'm going to get all the knowledge I can, but I'm thankful for the Bible class last night.
Okay. That kind of gives me an opportunity to come back and revisit that Bible class and rediscuss some of those things that we did talk about last evening. Independence Day, which celebrates the independence of America from Great Britain, was engineered, inspired by white landowners in this country. And so the Declaration of Independence and the 56 individuals who signed the Declaration of Independence were very, very particular, very precise in terms of who they wanted liberty extended to. It was primarily for landowners of the mainstream in this country. It didn't include any minorities at that time. It didn't include any women at that time. It didn't even include any non-landowners at that time. Now, that causes us to really have a conversation, and I'm coming back to you, Elder Dent, a conversation between this divide. Sometimes there is a tension between being a Christian and a child of God and then being a patriot citizen of this country. Let me give you one set example. Here in the state of New York, we have recently adopted a same-sex marriage law. Now, as a child of God, where does that put you in terms of your divided loyalties and your allegiance? My sermon last Sunday was, I pledge allegiance to the Lamb, and I acknowledge that there are some times when our citizenship is in conflict with our being a child of God. What say you?
Well, I'm not going with the same-sex marriage. That's just my individual opinion of it and my Christian opinion of it. I just don't believe in it. I think it's wrong, and I don't think anybody in this world can change my mind about it. That's how I feel about it. But you know, like even with the celebration of Independence Day, and I go to a certain extent. I don't go all way out with it because of my relationship with God. I just don't. I just spend a lot more time with family, and family's important, and more than the holiday. I find it more time to get together with my family and celebrate the good times with family, even though it's a time for us to eat and enjoy each other's company. But I look at it more as a family gathering rather than a little bit more of that type of celebration, unless it's like around Christmas time or something like that. But I kind of enjoy the holiday more along the lines of family now.
Okay, okay. Minister Allen, let me get your response and your reaction to that same question. And of course, Elder Dent, you've raised a very, very good question. I'm going to come back to the issue and the topic of family in just a second, because I think that perhaps that best defines our treatment and our attitude toward the 4th of July. But Minister Allen, give us your, do you see there sometimes being a tension or a conflict between who we are as a child of God and who we are as patriotic citizens of the country?
Well, the only conflict that I might see is that if I see the politics is getting in the way what I'm being taught about God. But however, I have to always go back to the tree in the garden because of Adam's sin. So we don't know. God never mentioned what was in that tree. He just said good and evil. So we don't know what was in there. So homosexuality is that God said whatever is bad, he can make good. So I don't sit in the judgment seat of them. I love them, what I'm saying, but I still represent God in what he said. So I don't, whatever how it come about, but I only represent what God said. But as I sit in the judgment seat, said what I would not do because I don't know what God's going to do with this. So I'm whatever I do for a heterosexual, I would do for a homosexual, for the giving, loving, what I would do that. But I still stick with what God said. I believe what God said about it. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? It's fine. I don't have no problem with them being homosexual. You know, I always say is that it's the activity. I think God was speaking of the activity of it. Not because of a mindset, what I'm saying, because he didn't mention anything about the mindset. I think he was talking about the activity of it.
Okay. Let me stay right there with you, Minister Allen, because one of the things that Elder Dent just made mention of is that the 4th of July is a time for family, celebration, picnic, things of that sort. And one of the things that I continue to teach is that our first ministry is to our family. And I would dare say that most people who we would talk to as it relates to the 4th of July, they don't always see it in philosophical terms or political terms or even historical terms, of which I talked about last night. But they see this as an opportunity to suspend their schedule from work, to be in fellowship with family, and to spend some meaningful time with people whom they love. I want to ask you, Minister Allen, how important is family, and how important is it that we use time like the 4th of July and other holidays to get with our family, to undergird them, and to keep strong the fellowship between ourselves and our other family members?
I think it's of the utmost importance to be with your family, because even as we as a family of God, this is our family as our own biological family. I think because a family is a nucleus where one picks up where the other leave off, another will picks up. One will fill in where the other can't fill in. So knowing this and having this feeling about being that close to somebody, it teaches us much about giving. It teaches about love, and it teaches about cohesiveness. So I think family. As a matter of fact, I think family is just as important as going to church. What I'm saying.
Okay, great. Let me kind of come back to you, Elder Deb, because you kind of raised this initially, and I want to kind of expand and explore this topic just a little bit more. And it has to do with family. You oftentimes hear Bishop Luter say our first ministry is to our family. And even when there have been times and occasions where one's schedule in our church has conflicted with a family obligation as opposed to a church program, I always encourage people to attend and support whatever that family obligation is. How important do you think family is, and how important do you think it is that we use time like the 4th of July, which is coming up on tomorrow in this instance, to spend time with our families?
It is so important. Over the few years, how you start to lose family members, it's very difficult to get everybody together. Most of the time we get together because of a funeral, or we get together because of a wedding. And, when you get together for a funeral, we always leave that space like, oh, we're going to call you. And we don't, because we get back into our routine of our schedule, and we just, go back to activities of daily living, back to work, back to this, what you're doing. But family is so important. And like I say, like it's 4th of July, but I look at a time like, oh, we're going to all get together, go see my dad, go see my sister, get this together, go all sit and laugh, talk, eat, talk about stuff, sing songs, whatever we do as a family, And then, except for holidays like Christmas, then we celebrate a little bit different because it's the birth of Jesus that we recognize. We set that day up. But family is very important to me, very important.
Okay. Again, you're watching the Bishop's Roundtable. I'm Bishop Andy C. Luter of the Hollywood Full Gospel Baptist Cathedral, located at 3504 Great Neck Road in Amityville, New York. I'm joined today by Minister Willie Allen and Elder Francis Dett, both members of our ministerial staff at the Hollywood Full Gospel Baptist Cathedral. We're talking about the 4th of July. We're talking about holidays. We're talking about the upcoming holiday that we're planning to observe on tomorrow. But more importantly, the larger issue and the larger topic that we're talking about today is family. Elder Dent, you just talked about the two major moments that we usually assemble together as family: funerals and weddings. I've just come through doing a wedding for a family not too long ago, and it is a very distressing time. Why do you think it is that it takes death to bring us together? And what do you think it would take for us to demonstrate and show the same kind of love, the same kind of warmth that we show during the time of death at other times when people who are alive could better appreciate it?
I think that, the family reunion helps. That helps a lot. Or just spontaneous, just say everybody just come over and get together. I find that with our family now, my sister and I, and my brother here now with my dad, I find that my father is getting a little older now, and I tend to spend more time with him now because, a little older they get, time shortened. But I find I spend more time with him. I feel good about it because that's the way when that day comes, when I don't longer have my dad, then I think it'll be a little more easier on myself that I did spend that much time with him. I don't want any of my family feel that, we didn't spend enough time with each other. So I think by calling each other, you got to be, like you said, our first ministry is family. The next one is our church family. Without my church family and my own family, I don't know where I would be. But those two families are very important to me. And I think that, even with the family, I think calling each other, just a phone call. Now we do a lot of texting, and texting is not a phone call to me. I like hands-on. I like to hear the voices. And I think that'll be a little bit more easier, better for us in our life and stuff if we just tend to just make a little bit more phone calls.
Okay. Yeah. Minister Allen, I'm sure that over the years you've had occasion to work not only in church but to work with families, and you've seen families struggle. You've seen the stress and the anxiety that's attached to families, especially at the time of death, in the loss of loved ones. Why do you think it is that it takes something as traumatic, something that is nearly a crisis like a death or a funeral, for people to express the kind of feelings and the emotions toward family that they do? And then what can we do? What can we do as ministers? What can we do as the church to help facilitate family in a more effective way so that it doesn't take something as dramatic as death to bring us together?
It seemed to me that family is quite symbolic to how we come to church, how we worship God, because love has to be attended to. It has to be. It never can be complacent about about your family. I think sometime is when there's a lot of stress in family, even though there's a laws, I think there's a feeling is that could I've done more what I didn't do because we sometimes put things off and they began to bother because we didn't get a chance. I heard a lot of people say, well, I was intending to call her up, but I didn't call her. I intended to go see her. So I'm saying we should never be complacent. It should always be like a new day. Like I see you and your father and Tanya. Y'all never fail to kiss each other. Whatever y'all see, y'all always like it was a new day, like I ain't saw you in a week. I mean, I ain't saw you in a month. That's how y'all act like a daily thing. So I think that's a good example. I think family have to always. I watch a picture called Soul Food.
Oh yeah.
Now they can have all kind of disagreement. They'll tell each other off, but they always got that love when there's a problem. They don't never when there's a problem. They had never had an argument. They always right there for each other. Whatever happened on the outside, they never let them interfere with coming together. So I think family have to be treated like we go into church, like we do our ministries, everything. Matter of fact, you can see that a ministry in a symbolic way. You know what I'm saying? So I think it has to be attended to, and it has to be consistent with showing love, and not say you're my brother, it's okay. You're my sister. I know I can do this. You have to treat it like it's like something like a jewel or raw or something like that.
Again, friends, I am Bishop Andy Saluto of the Hollywood Full Gospel Baptist Cathedral, located at 3504 Great Neck Road in Amityville, New York. You're listening to, for the last several minutes, the Bishop's Roundtable, a weekly opportunity to engage the ministers and elders of our church and affiliate congregations on topics of critical concern. I do want to welcome to our studio this evening Elder Mary Ellis and have her have an opportunity to say good evening to us. And then I want her to respond to what we've been talking about in general. And that is, Elder, we've been talking about on tomorrow we will celebrate the 4th of July. It is a day of fellowship and fun and family. In its original context, it is the celebration of America's independence from its European colonial holder of this territory that we call America. In light of that, are there times when you feel that your citizenship as an American is in conflict with your being a child of God and being a Christian? That's the question of the day. Say good evening to us.
Good evening, all. I'm truly thankful to be for being here again, and just thanking God for another day. A beautiful day, I must say. I enjoyed it thoroughly. That question is a loaded question. Of course, as a citizen of the kingdom, we are in conflict with the citizenship of the world. And just because of our standards and our beliefs, there's constant that warfare of us trying to live the standards that are set in the Bible versus what the world says. And the world nowadays says anything goes and anything is all right. And so there's going to always be that conflict because we're saying there is some boundaries, there's limits. In particular, I'm thinking about the new law that has been passed where, well, it's not so new, but it's been in recent months where same-sex marriages has become the prominent thing. And that's definitely a big conflict for us as those participants of the kingdom or being part of the body of Christ, because we're taught. And so we have to grapple with that as citizens of the United States or just citizens in the land. And then we also have to know that as those that are true believers and those that believe in God, that that might not be the way that we would want to promote the lifestyle that we would want to promote. So there's so many ways that as a citizen of America, we come in conflict with our beliefs and our ties to the church, and that is definitely one of the ways. And even, I think, going even to the schools. Now, they say we allowed it to happen because we didn't do anything to prevent it. So will that always be the mantra over the church? We allow things to happen because we don't prevent it? What are we to do? Why are we sleeping when things are going on? And what can we do to wake up? I think the church needs to get a little bit more proactive in our stance so that we can perhaps, if not stop, but make it known that we do have a stand and we don't want any and everything to go.
Okay. As you arrived, we were talking about the impact of family upon our lives, and how unfortunate it is that sometimes death has to occur for us to express the kind of feeling and warmth that we need to toward other family members. Why do you think that is, and how, as a minister in the Lord's church, what is it that you can do to help people understand the importance and the significance of family, even when family is not in crises?
Having gone through 2 major deaths in our church recently, and out of the same family, it has caused me to see that family is very, very important, and the strength that you can draw from each other is just wonderful. I shared with one of the sisters who lost not only her daughter but her sister over a month later. I said, "You are so strong, and I have to say to you, thank you, because you've made this so much easier for us here in the church, where I have to say we, and I'm including myself particularly, where we thought we would have to overextend ourselves because of the tragedies that occurred. We found ourselves feeling comforted by their strength and their closeness and their support of one another. They rally around when the daughter died, and then when the sister died, like I said, over a month later, those same group of people were back there again, supporting one another and showing up and being there as a support system. And the church was there, and so what it did for me was it reminded me that family is important, and I thank God I have a family unit that I consider very strong, and then an extended family that is a great support system. And just like Minister Allen said, we may have our difficulties and our challenges, and we may have our times where we need to be in the separate corners. As I say, go to your corner. But when it comes down to a crisis, or when it comes down to trouble, I can say that my family is there for one another, and I thank God for that. And what these 2 tragedies, and I say tragedies only because it has happened in the same family, but as believers, we don't believe that that's the end for us, so I don't see it as a true tragedy. I see it as a new beginning for all of us. But what it has caused me to do is say, I need to reach out more to my family. So I've said to my mother, do you want to go down south this year? You want to go pay a visit to your sisters? You want to go down and see my aunt? My aunt suffered a stroke about 3 months ago. And thank God she's doing better. My niece is about to have her baby. She's going to be it's going to be the first grandchild for my mother. So I'm thinking, listen, we need to be a part of some of these events that are going on and not just hear about them. Why can't we be participants in them? So I'm saying to her already, let's think about making that journey. I know it's a trip, but I think I'm willing to do it. And only if because I don't want to say like Minister Allen said, I wish I would have. I want to make sure, yeah.
All righty. I'm going to give all 3 of you the last word on this particular topic as we bring our discussion to a close. But what advice would you give the families on this 4th of July? I had a young man come to me last night right on the heels of our Bible study. He was so excited, and he was saying, Bishop, we're doing fireworks at our house, and his house happens to be about 5 or 6 houses down from where I live. He said, you don't even have to leave. All you have to do is go in your front yard and just look up in the sky. And we went out and bought all of the fireworks and everything needed for the big celebration on 4th of July. Going back to you, Elder Mary, what word would you give to families on this holiday, on this 4th of July? Not so much sociologically, not so much historically, not so much politically, but what word would you give from a ministerial point of view to those who are perhaps watching, those who have family, those who will be celebrating family, those who will be spending time with family? What word of encouragement would you give them for this year?
Well, one word I would definitely give to any and everybody that's listening is please be very cautious. You said fireworks. I am a product of fireworks in the home, and it wasn't a pretty sight. I had someone come to my house with some fireworks. I didn't bring them there. I didn't have them there, but the person decided that they wanted to share their fireworks. So they came into my yard and brought the fireworks, and they were going along good until all of a sudden one went astray, and guess what? It landed on my face and exploded. So I say to everyone, please, please be very cautious. I thank God that no damage was done, nothing was broken, nothing was scarred beyond repair. I thank God that the Lord used even the doctor that I had to see the next day to perform, I consider, a great job. But please use caution, use care. Remember little kids around, and it doesn't take long for an accident like that to happen. And we all can be having a good time, and it could just get out of control, out of hand. So please be very careful if you're going to have fireworks, if you're going to be around fireworks. Take the necessary precaution to protect yourself. I'm a witness that things can go really wrong in a matter of seconds, and before you know it, somebody could be in danger. Other than that, I would like to share, this is Independence Day, but I would like for us to remember as children of God that we should be living an interdependent day, because we should always never forget, that we are dependent on God. Even though we are independent believers and can do what we want to do, let's not forget our ties and our association and our dependence, because that's what he wants from us, our dependence on him. And so let's celebrate Independence Day with the thought that I am interdependent on God, who loves me to the utmost.
All righty. Thank you so much, Elder. That takes us to Elder Francis Dent. Elder Francis Dent, share a word with those who are watching, those who are part of this webcast. What word would you give them on this 4th of July celebration?
Well, I'm not a product of the fireworks, because we never had them. We weren't allowed to have them. So, well, yeah, we saw them from a great adventure. We were never allowed to have them in our home. My dad disapproved, so we always saw them from a distance. But I would say enjoy your family and love your family. Those two words are very important to me. Like I said, we just did 2 funerals I just went to last week. Enjoy your family and love one another. That's what I'm going to say.
All righty. And the last word on this particular topic is Minister Willie Allen. What word would you give those persons who are looking forward to having a joyous 4th of July on tomorrow?
Well, my advice would be for them to stay in the context of the law, because accidents are intentionally, atrocity are the same, and you don't want to be held responsible even though the accidents. So be careful and think of others as you would think of yourself, or when the neighbor, the people across the street, whatever closely. Remember, you also are responsible for them also, whether it be intentionally or an accident. And as Elder Mary said, is God gave us independence too, Independence Day, when he saved us, so think of him too.
All righty. Friends, you've been watching the Bishop's Roundtable. I am Bishop Andy C. Luter of the Hollywood Full Gospel Baptist Cathedral. I want to thank ministers and elders who have joined us today here in our studio for the recording of this particular webcast. Minister Willie Allen, Elder Francis Dent, Elder Mary Ellis. The first 2 are members of our ministry, and of course Elder Ellis from the Mary Park Baptist Church in Queens, New York. I too want to add my word to the chorus of encouragement that's been given. I want you to enjoy yourself, have a great time, especially on tomorrow. Remember family, spend time with family, love family, because when family's gone, you can't get them back. And it is so easy to overlook the importance of family and to take individuals for granted. But death is a stark reminder that we don't have none of us are here forever. None of us are here to stay. So until next time, I'm Bishop Andy C. Luter saying God bless you, God loves you, and I love you too, and we'll see you next week.